We have got a very good fight coming up in the welterweight division. We've got Boots Ennis versus Eimantas Stanionis. Each man putting up his share of the title. We've got Boots holding the IBF, and we got Stanionis holding the WBA. When I hear a fight like this get announced, the very first thing I think is, one, what a great fight. Both of these guys are very good fighters. Number two, this is the type of fight that we need to see, in the sense that anything that is going to unify the titles, anything like that is going to bring more clarity to the division, and it's going to just more define who is the absolute best at 147 pounds. Now look, Boots is a big favorite coming into this one. He's like minus 600. So everybody is assuming he's going to win. Everybody's assuming he's the better fighter. No secret going in that everybody thinks that he's going to win this fight. But here's the thing. This is going to be a tougher fight than I think a lot of people give it credit for. If both of these men are at their prime, if both of them are absolutely operating at 100% of their abilities, I'm giving it to Boots. That's the guy that I'm going to go with. I think he's going to win. Okay, and the reason I think he's going to win is because of his feet. Well, not just his feet, it's his feet, but it's also Stanionis' feet, okay? You look at Stanionis, very good fighter, okay? Pressure fighter, likes to come forward, knows how to cut the ring off and apply pressure correctly and effectively. Great power jab, knows how to throw combinations well. And it's not just the combinations. A lot of guys can come in and rattle off 2, 3, 4 punches, but you can tell that his punches are calculated. You can tell that he's very choosy on the ones that he's shooting, because those second and third punches are so accurate and they land so cleanly that you can tell he's figuring out what his defensive movements that his opponent's going to make and stuff. Very good going to the body, very good cardio, tough and rugged, and not easily deterred and unmotivated from what his plan is and how he's going to go out there and execute. But he moves in straight lines. Doesn't have a lot of head movement. Likes to use that high guard. And we know that Boots figured out that high guard. We've seen that a long time ago. We've seen it against Lipinets. We've seen it against Roy Manvilla. We've seen it against Avanesian. The man knows how to get around a high guard. He knows how to work that. So he's going to be able to go in there and he's going to be able to land his shots if he's at his best. Because when he's at his best, Boots knows how to use lateral movement. When he's at his best, he knows how to get in and out. And he knows how to get little angles. He knows how to get underneath shots. He knows how to use head movement. If he just wants to stay on the outside and make this a battle of jabs, as good as the jab of Stanionis is, Boots, I think, has a better one. Okay, it's longer. I think he'd be able to use it in a more calculated fashion. And when you mix it with his footwork, I think he'd be able to get little angles and he'd be able to get it off. Okay, but if he turns around and he wants to make this a slugfest on the inside, do I think Boots can win? Sure, I think he can still win that fight, but that's when Stanionis really has a chance to come out with the victory. Okay, that's why I said when they're both 100% at their best. Now, are both men going to show up at their best, right? That's the big question. That's what remains to be seen, because when I think about it, we got two factors coming in that's going to potentially prevent Boots from being at 100%. Number one, the weight issue. We know that 147 pounds, man, he is sucking himself down to get to this weight, so it's a lot to ask of him. There's been talk before about him moving up to 154. We've heard about all the talk regarding Virgil Ortiz and those types of fights, but he's coming back, he's coming back to 147 for at least this fight. Who knows what's going to happen after that, but it's a tough weight cut. So it'll remain to be seen what's going to happen when you got a guy who's making a tough weight cut against a guy who's rugged and tough, likes to come in and apply pressure, goes to the body well. Should this fight end up going the distance? Just one of the things I'm thinking about. If this fight ends up going to the distance, man, what's going to happen if all of a sudden Boots starts to gas out just a little bit around maybe the 7th or 8th round? Maybe the lateral movement isn't quite as good. Maybe all of a sudden Stanionis starts to get that jab off a little bit more. All of a sudden, maybe Boots starts to much more easily accept backing up into the ropes and trying to work off of there and use defensive movements and the shoulder roll and things like that. It could end up being problematic. So that's one thing that gives me concern about it. And the other thing would be looking past this fight. I know sometimes it's hard to believe. You think this is a unifying fight. There's another world title that's standing again across the ring from him. Undefeated fighter. How exactly does he look past it? But people are always asking him about bigger things. People are always asking him about the biggest fights possible, which is Virgil Ortiz or with Terrence Crawford or with Errol Spence for the longest. They're always asking about these massive fights. Okay, and it's easy to start to focus on those things because of everything that you know that fight will bring if you already feel like you got this one in the bag. So I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I'm going with Boots on this one. I think the line, I think it's got the potential, honestly, to be a little bit out of whack because I think this one's going to go the distance. I don't think he's going to be able to get Stanionis out of there. I think he's going to win the fight. I think he'll win it. When it's all said and done, we'll look back and say that he won it comfortably, but there's going to be a lot of moments in there where Stanionis gets off. He could easily come out with 4 rounds, right? This ends up being like an 8-4 type fight. So we leave and we're like, oh yeah, Boots clearly won the fight. But there's going to be a lot of movements, not only inside those 4 rounds, but even in the 8 that Boots wins, where Stanionis is able to do some good work. There's going to be times where he backs Boots up against the ropes and he's able to get off a little bit. And we're wondering, man, Boots, it seems like his activity's dropping off a little bit. Seems like he's not quite as quick. What's going on here, how this is going to turn out. But when it's all said and done, end of the day, I think he ends up pulling it out. And I think in the post-fight, he's going to talk about how the weight cut was tough. And it's going to be interesting to see, man, if he ends up moving up to 154. Not if, but when he ends up moving up to 154 and how he's able to make things happen up there when he doesn't have to cut down to 147. Nevertheless, when we're looking at this one, I think it'll be a very good performance from both men. But Boots Ennis is the one who's going to come out with the victory. So let me know what you guys think. Am I underestimating what Stanionis brings to the table? Or do you think Boots is going to be able to come out with this one? Let me know.